Please be seated.
Please be seated. Radhe Radhe. We welcome Didi Rameshwari ji to Yugal Kunj temple. Didi ji was here last year and has come here again, accepted our invitation, and we thank you, Didi, for that. Didi ji is based in Canada. She is preaching primarily in Canada and USA. Didi is one of the pracharak of Jagadguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. Didi has been preaching since 2011 as a pracharak, and she has a unique way of delivering philosophical discourses, providing references from scriptures which will engross us in the spiritual subject which is so important for our well-being. So Didi will be speaking to us for these 7 days, starting today. Every day we will be having lecture like this from 7 to 8:30. We will have Bhog and Aarti, and then Didi will have lecture, and it will end before 8:30. So I request everyone to please mute their cell phones if they are on, so that it doesn't disturb us, and take the advantage of this unique lecture series on Bhakti. And please let your friends and family members also know about this, who are not aware and who are interested in the subject, to come here and take advantage of this in the coming days. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Anandamaanandakara prasannam premaswarupam brajbhavayuktam yogindramidhyam bhavarogavaidyam gurum kripalam pranamami nityam. Namah kamalnabhaya Namah kamalmaline Namah kamalpadaya Namaste kamalekshana Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam Yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai Tagvam ha devamatmam buddhi prakasham Mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Spiritually inquisitive souls, let us chant the name of Sri Radha and Krishna for a few minutes, and thereafter I will begin with the subject. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
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 Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद 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 गोविंद राधे
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 राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे
जय हो
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे बैकुंठ नादे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे वैकुंठ नादे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे बैकुंठ नादे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे वैकुंठ नादे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे बैकुंठ नादे
भुक्ति नादे मुक्ति नादे वैकुंठ नादे
काऊ गोपी ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे
गाऊं तो भी गोपी प्रेम दिला दे
काऊ गोपी ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे
गाऊं गोपी ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे
जय हो
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
तुम भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
तू भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
तुम भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
तू भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
पल छिन आधे
पल छिन आधे
तुम भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
तुम भी मोही भूलो नहीं पल छिन आधे
मैं भी तो ही
जय हो।
भूलूं नहीं ऐसी बना दे
मैं भी तो ही भूलूं नहीं ऐसी बना दे
मैं भी तो ही भूलूं नहीं ऐसी बना दे
मैं भी तो ही भूलूं नहीं ऐसी बना दे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद
Radhe Govind, Govind Radhe.
Oh, Radhe Radhe Govind, Govind Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Govind, Govind Radhe.
बोलिए राधा गोविंद भगवान की
जय।
श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की
जय।
The Vedic mantra that I will be elaborating on today and for the next few days is Tameva Viditvati Mrityumeti Nanyaha Pantha Vidyate Yanai. This mantra is from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, 3rd chapter, 8th verse. The literal meaning of this verse is, it is only through knowing Him that He can go across it. Usko hi jankar tamev viditvati. Now you may wonder, could there also be another path other than through knowing Him? The Vedic mantra dissuades us by saying no, only through knowing Him. Nanya pantha vidyate. There is no other way possible. By knowing Him, what does it mean? What do we mean? It means that there is someone to be known. If there is someone to be known, then there must be someone who has to know Him, who must know Him. And thirdly, there is something to be crossed. Please be attentive. These three things are being highlighted by this Vedic verse. Knowing Him. Who is He? And this, who is this who has to know Him? Who must know Him? And thirdly, what is that which has to be crossed? So now please listen carefully to the answers. He who has to be known is the supreme power, the supreme Lord of the universe, variously known as Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan, God, Khuda, Satyakal, Shunya, Niranjan, etc. He has countless names. Anantanam Rupai. And who is this who has to know Him? This is the individual soul, ourselves. It has many names as well. Jivatma. And what is that which has to be crossed? That is also another entity known as Maya, the cosmic power or the material energy in the form of this material world. So now the meaning of this Vedic verse becomes clear. It is only through knowing God, the Supreme Being, that the individual soul can cross the ocean of Maya, this material existence. There's no other way possible. So after reflecting on the meaning of this verse, the first question that comes to mind is, who is worthy of knowing Him? Well, you may think that all living creatures can know Him because all living beings are the children of God. They're all His servants, His parts and parcels. As the scriptures tell us, Amritasya vai putraha. However, that is not true. The Garud Puran states, Na manusham vinanyatra tattva jnanam tu labhyate. Except for humans, it is not possible for any other living creature to know God, to gain the knowledge of the Supreme Being. This is why the Vedas tell us, they warn us, Iha ched vedi dath satyamasti na chediha vedin mahati vinashtihi. Kenopanishad 2:5. The Vedas warn us, O humans, do not waste precious time. Make a sincere effort to know God immediately. If you fail to do so, you will incur great harm. What harm are the Vedas referring to? Iha ched vedi dath satyamasti na chediha vedin mahati vinashtihi. Then further, the scriptures tell us, Iha ched dashakat bodhum prak sharirasya visrasaha tatah sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvay kalpate. Kathopanishad 2:3-4. The Vedas tell us that if we do not strive to know God while in the human form, we will rotate endlessly in the cycle of birth and death, suffering in lower forms of life. Therefore, uttishtat jagrat prapya vara nibodhat. They further tell us, Kathopanishad 1:3-14, awaken, arise, O humans, and seek the holy association of saints, so that through them you may attain divine knowledge. Attaining divine knowledge, godly knowledge, means attaining Him. Janat tumahi hoi jai. Adi Shankaracharya, the first original authentic Jagat Guru, the universal master, tells us, Durlabham trayamevaitat daivanugraha karakam manushyatvam mukshutvam mahapurusha sambhavaha. Vivek Chudamani. Being born a human and developing or having the desire to reach Him, to reach God, and thirdly, meeting a true guru, a true saint, are the three most difficult things to attain. And they are attained only through God's utmost grace. Shankaracharya ji further tells us a beautiful verse, Manuj dehamimam bhuvi durlabham samadhigamya surairapi vanchitam vishayalam pattatam apahaya vai bhajatre manujaha kamalapatim. After millions of lives, you've been blessed with the rarest birth, the human birth. So instead of wasting precious moments of life in pursuit of mundane pleasures, worldly, temporary, ordinary pleasures, make a sincere effort to reach God. I've just quoted Adi Shankaracharya, the first original Jagat Guru. Now I will quote the current and the fifth Jagat Guru of this age, the late Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. He has also composed hundreds of bhajans, highly praising the virtues of the human birth. In his scripture, Prem Ras Madira, which is a collection of 1008 devotional poems, Shri Maharaj so beautifully writes, Milat nahi nar tanu barambar, milat nahi nar tanu barambar. कबहू करी करुणा करुणा कर देह निर्देह संसार मिलत नहीं उलटो टांगी बांधी मुख गर्भहि समुझाए जग सार मिलत नहीं नर तनु बारंबार and so on. So all the scriptures and all saints from past to present point towards this precious human body. Once having attained it, they all recommend that one must strive to know him immediately. So this leads us to assume that there is a great mystery concerning this human form, something perhaps which is not yet fully known to us. So what is so special about this human form? Why has it been praised by all the scriptures and declared to be the best among all living creatures? Let us reflect on this. Saint Bhartihari says, Ahar nidra bhayamaithunancha samanya me tat pashubhir naranam. First he says, man is equal to animals in 4 respects: eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. In the second line of the same verse, in which he likens humans to animals, he gives us the answer. Jnanam hi tesham adhiko vishesho jnanena hinaah pashubhih samanah. He says that the blessing that places man on a higher plane than other living creatures is knowledge. Gyan. Man possesses an exceptional quality to distinguish between right and wrong. Hit anahit pashu pachayu jana manush tanu guna jnana nidhana. And what happens without this knowledge? What happens to us? Due to the absence of this knowledge, then man becomes no better than an animal. So, it is the power of rational thinking that distinguishes man from other creatures and places him on a higher level. This is easy to understand. And yet, what is not easy to understand is the superiority of the human being, of the human form over celestial beings, over heavenly gods. These heavenly gods whom we worship sing glories of the human body. They desire the human form. Gayanti devah kil geet kani dhanyastu ye bharat bhumi bhage. So why do heavenly gods desire the human form? When the scriptures tell us that heavenly beings are far superior to humans in many respects. Kamdev, for instance, excels in beauty. Kuber is the god of wealth. Indra, the king of heaven, is the most opulent. And moreover, the body of a heavenly god, Devta, possesses a number of special qualities unlike the human body, it is not made of the 5 gross elements: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. No. It is lustrous, it is fragrant, it is divine. Now you may think that perhaps humans possess superior knowledge than these heavenly gods, but even this is not so. Although we boast about our modern space-age technology, the fact remains that heavenly beings are far superior. Our knowledge, we cannot compete with heavenly gods in knowledge. Why? To give you an example, these heavenly beings possess much superior knowledge. They possess weapons such as Agni Ban, Vayu Ban, weapons that have the ability to kill only the intended victim and leaving all others unharmed. So the fact is that our knowledge places us above only plants, trees, insects, animals, etc., birds, but certainly not heavenly gods. Now then you may ask, well, if even knowledge is not the reason behind the superiority of the human body, then what is? Tulsidas Ji tells us in a very crooked way, Narak Swarg Apvarg Niseni Gyan Virag Bhakti Sukh Deni. He says that the human life is the best possible means of attaining hell. Now these words are coming from the same Tulsidas Ji, who also tells us that there's no form of life quite like the human form. Bade bhag manush tanu pava sur durlabh sad granthani gava kabahu ka kari karunanar dehi det ish binu he tu sanehi. But now Tulsidas Ji is telling us that the human body is special because it is a stairway leading to hell. Now you may say, what kind of praise is this? Before you get confused, let me explain to you the logic behind this curious statement made by Tulsidas Ji. You see, humans are blessed with the gift of knowledge. Only humans are endowed with the gift of knowledge. And if this gift is used properly, it can lead man to greatness, to great accomplishments. However, if it is misused, if it is not utilized properly, then the consequences are horrifying, are the opposite, leading man to his downfall. So, abusing this greatest gift from God is the gift of knowledge, the Gyan Shakti, is the most abominable offense in the eyes of God, and therefore the punishment incurred is imprisonment in hell. And since 99.999, etc., majority of humans commit this offense of not making good, proper use of the human body. In other words, abusing the body and in sense gratification. Tulsidas Ji refers to hell first. Naraka Swarga. Next, he refers to those desires of attaining heaven, Swarga. All religions of the world offer heaven as a reward for our virtuous actions, for good conduct, or orthodox performance of rites and rituals. However, the Vedas tell us that they are fools who desire and attain heaven, who desire to even attain heaven. And not ordinary fools, mind you, the greatest of fools, pramudha. Why? You see, heaven is a reward offered to us for our virtuous actions. And since our virtuous actions are limited, so is the duration of our stay in heaven. Perhaps 10 days, 1 year, 10 years, or let's say even 100,000 years. But one day, the fruits of our virtuous actions will be exhausted. And then what happens? Then we are forced out of heaven. Tavat pramodate swarge yavat punyam samapyate. Bhagavat. So where do we go then? Hinataram vavishanti, to lower forms of life on this earth. Not as a human being. We even lose this birth as a human, which is so precious. We go to lower forms of life. And next, Tulsidas Ji refers to those who aim at the attainment of liberation, moksha. So these individuals realize that heavenly gains are limited and temporary, and they cannot put an end to the endless cycle of birth and death. So therefore, they aim for liberation instead. Now finally, the fourth category, Tulsidas Ji refers to those extremely rare, the most intelligent humans who desire not even liberation. They aim at the highest, and that is Bhakti, devotion to God. God realization through devotion. So in essence, what Tulsidas Ji is telling us is that human beings are capable of attaining whatever they desire, whether it be hell, heaven, liberation, or the ultimate, devotion to God. We have been given the freedom to perform appropriate actions in order to attain the desired end. Punyena punyalokam nayati papena papmubhabhya meva manushyalokam. 3.7, Prashnoparishad. Now you may say, what about the other forms of life? There are 8.4 million species of life in existence. Do all these species possess the freedom to perform actions? The scriptures tell us no. It is only humans who have been given the freedom to perform actions and reap the fruits thereof. Other creatures, other forms of species, merely enjoy or suffer the consequences of actions performed by them in their previous lives as humans. They cannot and they do not taste the fruits of their present actions. For example, no one would punish a lion for killing and devouring a man, but if a man were to do the same, he would surely be punished. Not only by the material government, but also by the spiritual government. Even heavenly gods are not given the right to perform fruitive actions, actions which will bear fruits, results in the future. An individual soul cannot work towards spiritual upliftment while in heaven. We read in the scriptures that heavenly gods such as Indra, Agni, Vayu, and so on had the opportunity to see the Supreme Lord. But this did not help these heavenly gods spiritually. Why? What is the reason? Because it is called Bhog Yoni. So human beings are referred to as Karma Yoni, and heavenly gods, heavenly beings are referred to as, in fact, all other forms of life are Bhog Yoni, simply bearing the consequences of their good or bad actions. So heavenly beings, their bodies are merely the medium of reaping consequences of past actions. It is for this reason that heavenly gods desire the human form. They desire it so that they may work towards reaching their ultimate aim of God realization in the form of a human. So we come to a decision that we can work towards reaching our ultimate goal in life only in the form of a human being. So in this respect, man rises far above all other living beings, even gods in heaven, because he alone among God's children is given the right to perform actions, given the freedom to transcend, to cross all limitations of this material world and aim at the highest, supreme bliss. So it depends on us. The scriptures say whether we take a spiritual step up towards God or the material path downwards to destruction. This is why the Vedas tell us, utilize every precious moment of life towards the attainment of your ultimate aim. Because otherwise, what would happen otherwise? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha sansare khalu dustare, kripaya pare, pahi murare, bhaj govindam, bhaj govindam, govindam, bhaj mudhamate. Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya tells us that if you do not make proper use of this human body, you will repeatedly take birth and die, take birth and die, hanging upside down in the womb of a mother, full of intense suffering. So along with realizing the importance of the human body, we must give thought to its transience, its fleeting nature, that it is temporary. Yudhishthir, the eldest brother of the Pandavas, was once asked 60 questions by Yaksh. One of the most important questions was, Kim Ashcharyam? What is the most surprising fact in the world? The wise Yudhishthir replied, Ahanyahani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam sheshastratva michanti kimascharyamatah param. What is the most surprising fact in the world? He was asked. Kimascharya. And Yudhishthira replied that the most surprising fact in the world is that we see our fellow beings dying every moment, going to the abode of Yamaraj. And yet, they who are left behind think that they will never die. This is certainly the most bewildering fact of the world, that in the face of death, no one believes that he will die. And along with giving thought to the transitory nature of this human body, we must also think about the certainty of death. We use the term dead sure. What does it mean? It means that death is something we are all sure to face. No one can escape from the clutches of death. There's a beautiful story in the Bhagavad. Once a man was hiking in the woods when it suddenly became dark, so the man decided to leave, but some animals blocked his path. And in trying to get away from them, he penetrated further into the woods. And while running, he saw an old woman with arms outstretched as if to embrace him. He got frightened. He ran in the opposite direction. While running, he then stepped onto a grassy patch, which was in fact a deep pit covered by grass and creepers. So his feet became entangled in the creepers, and he found himself hanging upside down above the pit. Now there was a snake at the bottom of the pit, waiting for him to fall, so that it may bite him. 2 rats, one black, one white, were nibbling at the tree which held these creepers. And there was a beehive on that tree. And the bees from the beehive started stinging the man on his face. But even in this most dangerous situation, it was seen that the man wore a somewhat happy expression on his face. He had a slight smile on his face. Now you may think that this man is crazy, but the scriptures and the saints tell us we are even crazier, we are even more foolish. Why? You see, the animals blocking the man's path are likened to diseases that afflict us in life, that trouble us in life. And the old woman symbolizes old age that wants to take us in its lap. Jo jaake na aaye waha javani dekhi. There's a funny little poem. Jo jaake na aaye waha javani dekhi, jo aake na jaye wah budhapa dekha. Once we lose our youth, it is gone forever. And once old age embraces us, it is with us forever. So going back to our story, the 2 rats, one black, one white, are likened to day and night that are nibbling away at our life, throwing us closer and closer to death. And the snake at the bottom of the pit represents time that wants to devour us in the form of death. And the bees, the endless bees, signify the endless desires that agitate us, that agitate our mind. And yet, the little bit of sense enjoyment we experience from time to time in life makes us so intoxicated that we forget. We forget what an uncertain and risky situation we are in. We forget about the transience of human life, how temporary it is. However, the Bhagavad encourages us by telling us, Labdhva sudurlabhamidam bahusambhavante manusyamarthadam nityamapiha dhiraha. 11th Canto, 9th chapter, 29th verse. Meaning that though temporary, though momentary, this human life provides us a golden opportunity for God realization. So, therefore, we must meditate on the fact, constantly meditate on the fact that our most valuable treasure in life lies not in the worldly objects, material objects that are perishable, that are temporary, but in the divine knowledge, love of God, the bliss of God that are everlasting. Divine knowledge, love, and bliss. Now, you may question, but why is it necessary for us to realize God? What do the transience and the importance of human life have to do with God realization? Why should we bother to make an attempt to know Him? In answer to this question, Saint Valmiki ji says in the Ramayana, Loke nahi savidyet yo naramamanuvrataha. Never was or is, nor will there ever be a living being who is not a sincere devotee of God. These words confuse us because it is our experience, it is our daily experience that while there are those who are devoted to God, who worship God wholeheartedly, there are also those who are completely indifferent towards Him. Not only that, there are also those who even abuse God and stop others from going to Him. How can we call them devotees? There are two parties exist everywhere. There's day and there's night. One is virtuous, the other sinful. Some are theists, others atheists. Then how is it that Saint Valmiki ji has placed everyone in the same category as believers? He even goes to the extent of saying that no one can be a non-believer, even if he tries his best to become one. So what is the mystery behind this most puzzling statement made by Saint Valmiki ji? Let us resolve this today. To get an answer, first of all, let us understand that if we look around, we see that this world is in a constant state of motion. Everyone seems to be doing something or the other. Why? The reason is given in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Nahi kaschit chanamapi jatu tishthatte karma krit. Gita 3:5. Meaning, the reason being that no individual who has a mind and an intellect, equipped with a mind and an intellect, can remain inactive for even a fraction of a moment. Our mind cannot remain still, in other words, even for a moment. It is constantly working. It is constantly thinking of something or the other. And yet, all actions of all living beings in the universe can be placed under two categories. We either perform actions with the mind alone, mentally, or with the mind plus the body. In other words, we either think or we think and do. So the point is that it is the mind, the faculty of thinking, which is the motivating factor behind all our activities. The scriptures go as far as to say, Prayojana manuddishya mandopi na pravartate. Even the greatest fool works with a definite aim in mind. Even he has a purpose in mind. So he is also constantly thinking something or the other. So what is it that we are all striving for? What does everyone want out of life? It seems that this would be an impossible question to answer. It would seem that even Saraswati and Brihaspati, the gods of knowledge, would not be able to answer this question. Why? Because there are innumerable, uncountable living beings in existence. And the aims of these innumerable living beings are ever changing. Our aims do not merely change, but often contradict one another from 1 minute to the next. We desire one thing 1 minute and something completely different the next. So it would seem that there must be innumerable aims of these innumerable living beings. So it would seem that it would be impossible to pinpoint the ultimate aim of a single individual, what to speak of innumerable living beings in existence. And yet the fact is, there is only one. There's one universal aim of all living beings. And what is that aim? We need not go far to find out what that is. Take education, for example. You start schooling at the age of 5 or 6. Why? Because starting with primary school, because you want to go to secondary school. A child wants to go to secondary school. Why secondary school? Because you want to go to college. Why college? Because you want to obtain a degree. Why a degree? Because you want to find a good job. Why a good job? Because you wish to earn as much money as possible. Why lots of money? The answer is simple: to satisfy the desires of the 5 senses of sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. And why the desire to satisfy the 5 senses? To be happy. In order to be happy, to experience happiness. This is just one example, but if we carefully analyze the motive behind any action of any living being, from the tiniest ant to a human, we will discover again and again that we desire, that we search for happiness in everything that we do. All our actions, no matter how contradictory, are motivated by the desire for happiness. So why are we searching for happiness? Has someone taught us to desire happiness as we have been taught other lessons in life? No. Then how is it that we found out to look for happiness in whatever we do when we had to be taught almost everything else in life? The answer is very simple. But I will give it to you step by step. You see, all living beings are a fraction of God, as the scriptures tell us. Jinmatram Shri Hareransham Sukshmam Aksharam Avyayam. The Vedas state that every individual soul is an eternal part and parcel of God. Ya Atmani Tishtati, Ya Upranasya Pranaha. God is the life force of all living beings. Ansho Nana Vyapadeshat. Lord Krishna himself states in the Gita, Mamaivansho Jivaloke Jiva Bhutaha Sanatanaha. 15:7. The individual soul is an eternal fraction of myself. And the next thing we need to thing I need to remind you of is the fact that every fraction, every part has a natural love for its entirety or its source or its origin. Take a lump of clay in your hands and let it go. It will fall directly towards the earth. Why? Because it's a part of this earth. In exactly the same way, the individual soul, being eternal part and parcel of God, has a natural love for Him and desires to attain Him. So this is the real meaning behind the following words of Saint Valmiki ji, Loke nahi savidyeta yo naramama nuvrataha. Meaning that it is impossible to find an individual soul who does not earnestly love God. So all living beings are a fraction of God, and since every fraction has a natural love for its entirety, its origin, all living beings naturally love God. So it is automatically proven that all living beings are devotees of God, whether they realize it or not. And who is God? How is God described in our scriptures? What is the definition of God? Taittiriya Upanishad traces the nature of the supreme entity known as Brahma or God. Anando brahmeti vyajanat anandat dhev khal vimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam priyanti abhisamvishanti. The Vedas say, Taittiriya Upanishad 3:6, that Anand is Brahma. Bliss is God. God is bliss. It is from bliss that all living beings are born, by it all are sustained, and into it all merge ultimately at the time of final dissolution. So the individual soul, you see, in reality is an eternal fragment, a fraction of bliss. And therefore he wishes to attain bliss, happiness. Raso vaisaha rasagvam hyevayam labdhva nandi bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad 2:7. Anand is Brahma, bliss is God, God is bliss. God and bliss are synonymous terms. He is the infinite reservoir of divine bliss, the unfathomable ocean of happiness. The Chandogya Upanishad gives the following description. Anand evadhastat, anand uprishtat, anandah purastat, anandah paschat, anand uttarataha, anando dakshinataha, anand eve dagvam sarvam. Chandogya Upanishad 8.2.5. There is bliss and bliss alone about him, above him, below him, to his east, to his west, to his north, to his south, inside him, outside him, and all around him. So it is clear that all of us are looking for happiness, looking for bliss, and which is another name for God. Now the question may arise, is that have we ever tasted that bliss? Since it is our experience that there is happiness in this world as well. So what is that divine bliss? Is it not the same as what we experience in the world? The happiness? The so-called happiness? Well, let us ask the Vedas, the ultimate authority for the definition of bliss or happiness. And they tell us, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham, nalpe sukhamasti bhuma tveva vijigyasi tavyaha. Chandogya Upanishad 7:23:1 says that bliss is eternal, ever existing, unlimited, immeasurable, infinite, everlasting, and ever increasing. Such is the definition. This is the definition of real happiness. Divyanand, it's called in Hindi. It can never be overcome by sorrow and suffering. Once we attain it, once we acquire it, it is possessed forever. It stays with us forever. No one can snatch it away from us. Just as darkness cannot engulf light. Where there's light, there cannot be darkness. In the same way, genuine bliss, Divya Anand, can never be contaminated with the least amount of sorrow or suffering. This is why Tulsidas ji has beautifully written, Soi sukh lavalesh jin barik sapne hullahehu te nahi ganahi khages brahma sukhahi sajjana sumati. He tells us that if anyone were to taste even a particle of that divine bliss, that Divya Premanand, even in a dream, he is sure to forget the bliss of the impersonal Brahm. That is godly bliss as well. Then what to speak of the mundane, worldly pleasures, the temporary pleasures of this material world? And as for the little happiness that we do experience from time to time, the scriptures tell us that is a mere reflection of the perennial, the ever-existing bliss residing in God. So we are always occupied. We're always busy. Our mind is constantly at the go. We're always occupied in our endless search for this divine bliss. And the search will continue. And it is without a beginning, because we ourselves are beginningless. The Vedas tell us that the individual soul is unborn and eternal, Atma, Jivatma. And the Gita illustrates this point beautifully. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Gita 2:20. Meaning, for the soul, there's never birth nor death, nor having once been does it ever cease to be. It is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval, of the earliest age. It is not slain when the body is slain. Ishwar ansh jeeva avinashi. Other scriptures also state, the Ramayana says that the individual soul is eternal and immortal. So you understand that since we are beginningless, our aim, our attempts to attain happiness are also beginningless. And we will continue to search for this happiness unless and until we one day succeed in attaining it, in fulfilling that aim of supreme happiness. In other words, God. Because God and happiness are synonymous terms. So the question now is, how can we attain Him? How can we attain that supreme happiness, attaining which we no longer will need to attain anything else for all eternity to come? The answer to this will be disclosed tomorrow, and much more will be discussed tomorrow. So until then, Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. We will now do Guru Aarti, so please stand for Guru Aarti. जयति जगद गुरु गुरुवर की, गाओ मिल आरती रसिक वर की, गाओ गाओ मिल आरती रसिक वर की। गुरुपद नख मणि चंद्रिका प्रकाश, जाके उर्वश ताके मोह तम नाश, जाके माथ नाथ तव हाथ करे वास, ताते होए माया मोह सब ही निराश, पावे गति मति रति राधावर की, गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। अरे मन मूल छाड़ नारी नर हार, गुरु बिनु ब्रह्म श्याम होना देंगे साथ, कोमल कृपाल बड़े कृपा सिंधुनाथ, पाके इन्हें आज तू अनाथ हो सनाथ, इन्हीं के आधीन कृपा गिरिधर की, गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। भक्ति योग रस अवतार अभिराम, करे निगमागम समन्वय ललाम, श्यामा श्याम नाम रूप लीला गुण धाम, बाटी रहे प्रेम निष्काम
बिनु धाम। रही सफल काया नारी नर की, गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। लली लाल लीला का सलोना सुविलास, छाया दिव्य दृष्टि विच प्रेम का प्रकाश। वैसा ही विनोद वही मंजू मृदुहास, करे बस बर बस उच्च अट्टहास। जय हो झूमी चले चाल वही नटवर की, गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। जयति जगद गुरु गुरुवर की, गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की।
बोले श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की
जय।
लाडली लाल की
जय।
श्री राघवेंद्र सरकार की
जय।
जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे।
Radhe Radhe. Thank you very much, Didiji. Everyone will agree with me that it was a wonderful explanation of Kripaloji Maharaj's philosophy of divine love. And I wish and more people will come and take advantage of this. So please come tomorrow again and let your friends and family members know about this. And please take Aarti and Achman from here and Prasad from Didiji. And we will have dinner Prasad available in the dining hall. So once again, tomorrow we will have this program continue at the same time, 7 o'clock in the evening. Bhog with Aarti, followed by Didiji's lecture, and it will end just like today. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.